What's up, guys? Just want to do a quick driving review today on a 2016 BMW M3. Just to give you a very basic background of this car, it is my daily driver. This is what I take to work every single day, and I chose to get this car because it has a back seat. I have a son, so this is something that's a necessity for me to have a back seat. It's a great handling car. It actually has the Dynon springs, so it gives it a little bit lower of a ride height. It's still very soft, very compliant for daily driving, but it's probably going to give up some performance on canyon or performance driving on track. But for daily driving, it's great. There's no tune or anything on the car. It's completely stock, 425 horsepower, 406 pound-feet of torque. This car is actually really unique. It has frozen red BMW individual paint on the outside, and it has individual Silverstone interior with secure orange stitching, as well as black leather as well. So this car is actually a one-of-one example in America. So it's a pretty unique spec. That's one of the reasons why I really wanted to buy it. And it's got pretty low miles at 50,000. So for me, it was a no-brainer to kind of pick one of these up as a daily driver. I do want to maybe feature it later in the channel if I do any modifications to it, but as of right now, just the Dynon springs. It came from the factory with the M Performance exhaust. The tires on this car are Michelin Pilot 4S. That's what the car came with. It's good for daily driving, not as good for track, but just to give you guys the specs on the car, it's upsized one size on the front and the rear. So the rear is 285 and the fronts are 265. So I could tell right off the bat, the shifts are a little slow. This is the first generation DCT for BMW. Actually, no, it's not. That should be actually the E92 M3. But yeah, this one could definitely use some transmission tuning. It's very bouncy on the turns. So some initial impressions on this car. Acceleration is great. The transmission, I wish the shifting could be a little smoother. I'm probably just really used to the Porsche PDKs, so that's the reason why. Another thing too is you'll notice this car kind of bobs through some turns on suspension. These are not the best dampers, let's just put it that way. These are stock. Here we go. Turning is real good. Just to give you guys some initial thoughts. So this car, it's good for daily, but when I'm going through a cambered turn and like a bank turn, like what we just did, it likes to bounce mid-turn. So what happens is if you are essentially accelerating, while it's bobbing, the car does not feel settled at all. So then you back off, right? So let's just say for any type of track driving, that's actually really bad because then you can't stay on the throttle, right? You're actually upsetting the suspension while you're under load. So it's not the best setup for what we're doing right now. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it is very good as a daily driver because it's very comfortable. There's everything works here. It's got all the nice creature comforts. But overall, I think that it does feel good. I think the torque is good, the 406. I think that, in the grand scheme of things, it picks up pretty quickly. And I think that the horsepower is well matched for the car. I wish it could maybe have 50 to 75 horsepower more, but that can easily be done with like a stage 1 tune. These cars are so tunable from the factory. And, a lot of people, they do like a software flash for DCT. They do like a M4 GTS flash. Sometimes they do the M3 CS flash. It's just to make the transmission more responsive and quicker. Same with the suspension. Those are all, because they're electronically controlled. You can flash software from another car that's maybe a tier up, and it should help a lot. So I think I do want to do that on this car and see how that responds without like spending big money on suspension upgrades. But I would say that that's probably the biggest Achilles heel on this car is the suspension. Everything else feels pretty good. I am currently in Sport Plus mode right now on everything. Easy to trail brake in and stay on maintenance throttle. That bob, man, it bugs me. I'm trying to put the power down and it's just not taking it. Overall, I think the car is amazing. I think for the value that you're getting for this car, they're very reliable cars. I think the biggest Achilles heel on this car mechanically is the crank hub. I know that that's a known issue for these S55 motors, but outside of that, I think that's like a $4,000 reinforcement job to beef that up. But other than that, these cars are pretty rock solid. I think even from the transmission, the LSD, and the engine, I think the crank hub is definitely the weakest point on the car. Other than that, the fit and finish is pretty good. I actually owned one of these back in 2016. I did European delivery on it. It was an M4. And that one, I think, had like some squeaks and rattles in the back. So it wasn't the best fit and finish. This one's actually better done. And, everything works. Everything's really nice, well put. So I would say that for overall the package that it is, you're looking at maybe non-rare models in this F80 generation. You could get them for, mid 30s, 35 to 38,000 for decently lower miles. Some of the ones with nicer specs might be higher miles in that price point, but the BMW individuals definitely demand more money. I've seen these cars range all the way up to almost $70,000 depending on mileage and spec. They also have like the M3 CS and M4 CS, which is probably the Goldilocks version of this car. It definitely handles better on the track, and has all the carbon fiber bits and feels a lot better on a canyon road. But overall, this car is amazing for a daily driver. I think that overall, for the price point that it's at, from the $35,000 to $50,000 range, it's a good buy. And the reason why it's a good buy is because these cars don't really depreciate. Like when you look at E46 M3s, E92 M3s, they kind of just have, their values have held over the last 10 years. And they're slightly creeping up. And same with these F80s. They're steady and they are slowly creeping up. But I don't think that these are rare cars by any means. They're not collectibles. They're just more, I guess, better for value retention and lower cost of vehicle ownership over the long term. You could really not go wrong with putting some miles on it, even if you're driving 5, 10, even 15,000 miles a year. And, let's just say if you want to sell it in a year or two, you'll probably still get a chunk of your money back, because these cars are always going to be desired by people who are into BMW motorsport, into M3s, into, just cars in general. It's a pretty timeless design, really well put together, and definitely one of, in my opinion, BMW's best of the latest work that they've put out. But if I was to compare this to, let's just say, the previous generation M's, because I've also owned E36 M3s and E46s. I've never actually owned an E90, but I have driven those. I would say that this one's numb. The steering isn't nearly as communicative as the previous ones because it's electronic. For a daily driver, that's okay. Like, you don't really need driver feedback, but on a canyon road, it would do a lot better if if they gave you a little bit more feel. But because of the emissions and everything, there's just no way to do that. In that price point of $35,000 to $50,000, I think that this is a great daily driver. You can't really get a well spec'd out 911 for that price unless you're getting a pretty older generation, like a 996, or maybe a pretty high mileage 997. And those aren't really usable with the back seat. You can get an M5, like maybe an F10, but that's a lot heavier and it doesn't handle as well. Like this, I could still take it to the track and it'll probably do decent, not well, but it'll survive. But I think in the grand scheme of things, as a daily driver, it's an amazing value for what it is, and I would highly recommend it all day long. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out, but hopefully you guys enjoy it and have a good one. Cheers.